All right. As many of you know, I shoot these live, usually unedited, but even spinning around trying to show you guys some insights there, standing in the hallways here at IBM Insights, I started to get myself dizzy. So I found myself a nice little spot to kind of post up to. I'm in the capture booth here at IBM Social Lounge. And what we're talking about today on iSocial Talks is a quick recap. I'm at a big data conference. Why am I at a big data conference? Well, social, cloud, mobile, big data, it's all about one package. IBM's calling it a system of insights, which I think is a very good way of bundling the two. Without data, cloud is nothing without, or data is nothing without cloud. Cloud solutions are struggling to be implemented because they need data to prove their value. And the third element there is really engagement. When IBM talks about engagement, they refer to it as mobile and social. And so really it's that connection with the community. And so you'll hear me talk a lot previous episodes about data. When we think about social data or we think about data in general, it's only part of the story. And this is the big theme here at IBM Insights. But what we're talking about, or what I wanted to kind of address today, and I'm hanging out in the Influencers Lounge here at IBM Insights, and I had a couple people asking, with almost 4,000 people tweeting here at IBM Insights, how do we stand out from the noise, or how do we get our tweets seen? And I think today it's a lot different than it was a year ago. A year ago, I remember going to AWS reInvent, a very tech-savvy event, but live tweeting, not only was it less of something that was adapted by everybody, but the idea of taking pictures of slides was still kind of catching on. I think 2014, you now see iPads and cameras be flipped up immediately so people can take pictures of the slides as presenters are presenting. So first of all, presenters have to have their Twitter handle on every single slide, not just the first slide, every slide in the byline, big enough so that when you say something cool, I can give you credit. Because if not, they're going to tweet it without you having your Twitter name on there. And what value does that have you as a presenter? But thinking about you in the audience, so as those live tweeting, maybe you're an influencer, maybe you're brought in to work with influencer campaigns or even social media campaigns, and you're like, how do I get my team or my tweets to stand out? And I have a couple tips, and one of my tips is the easy one because it's the same way I get my tweets to stand out every day, is I try to add my unique insight, and I try to add a visual. Remember, I tweet close to 9,000 of my 68,000 tweets have been pictures. That's a high percentage. The reason is pictures stand out. And now with the latest news on Hootsuite, now allowing pictures inline, pictures are even more valuable. So all that community that I felt like was missing my cool visuals are now being able to take advantage of that via Hootsuite. So that's a big one. At the live event here, we were at the opening keynote. I had a pretty good seat, took a picture of the opening keynote presentation. Right when I got in there, I waited for the soundbite that I thought was the best. It was the cloud is the how, or the data is the how, the cloud is the what, and the engagement is the why. And I took that tweet, used one of the apps on my phone, put a little overlay on it, put the quote on top of a picture, tweeted that picture out, and now it's without question the most popular tweet today, or from any of the days here at IBM Insight. And it's mainly because I did it in real time, and there's a difference. Another theme here at IBM Insight, and I'll be blogging about that this week, is that there's a difference between real time and the right time. Real time, you often will just tweet out, and if every single person's tweeting that same great quote the same exact way, how are you standing out? It's just a constant feed. So kind of keep that in mind when you're sharing. If it's a quote that's really good, is there a way to break it up? I use TweetDeck, and TweetDeck actually allows you to put the return caret at the end of each line, allowing your tweet to stand out a little bit better in the stream. Very cool, because then all these quotes going through, and then all of a sudden there's one with a bigger block, and that's the one they retweet, and that's usually mine. Another tip I have is your number of followers doesn't matter at an event. That's what I said. Number of followers doesn't matter. So for all you influencers, for all you people, 17,000 followers, 200,000 followers, 20 followers. When you are at an event, people are not following the person, they're following the hashtag. So what does that mean? When I'm following the hashtag, it doesn't say this person's tweet doesn't come in bigger because they have 200,000 followers, they have a clout score of 80. What happens is, it's in the same feed, one after the other of every other person. So the great influencers, the people that are using social to stand out, are finding ways to add unique insights. So instead of just dropping the same picture of a slide, why not take a couple pictures of a slide and give your overall opinion of what's going on? or maybe take a quote from a previous event or a previous speech that you were at this event. And when someone else talks about it, say, hey, this is a great reference to this tweet. You're now drawing attention to a previous event and a previous person, which is relative to that community. And it stands out because it's different. And someone's like, oh, I wasn't at that event, but since I'm at this event and care about this data, bam, that's something I'm interested in. So I think the key for today is there's so much social noise, and when you're at an event, I know I track events every day, even when I'm not at an event live. I like to track them on TweetDeck or Hootsuite to make sure I'm kind of looking at them in the feed. And I can't stand the fact that you just see the same thing being tweeted over and over again, and then people don't understand why they don't stand out. You have to add value. Remember, people follow you for you, and at an event, they're not following you. They want to respond, and it's really they're reacting to your tweet. So you actually have to put some effort into it. Tweeting, there's no easy button there. If you're just the same guy tweeting or retweeting everything else, that's just not going to get you to stand out. The other thing is you have to take into account of your audience. Remember to respect them, not only them that are at the event, but those that are not at the event. If you are retweeting every single tweet that comes out from that hashtag, your normal followers, hopefully they understand how to mute, because that's another thing we all should embrace. I often mute people that I know will be live tweeting at an event. If I just mute them for a day, so that the next day they're back in my feed, I didn't have to unfollow them. But remember that when you're doing that. I tweet a lot to begin with, so people ask me often, like, how does that happen? So for me, my audience knows and understands that I tweet a lot, and hopefully they don't mind seeing my silly avatar floating around there on Twitter. But there's a difference between tweeting normally and you have all your followers that are already actively engaged looking for your content, versus trying to track the attention of event goers. They don't know who you are maybe, or maybe they're following you, but because they're only following the hashtag on their phone or on their device, it doesn't pop out to them as the people that are following it. You're just another person on Twitter. So for those building influencer campaigns, it's another thing to keep in mind, because although that reach and amplification and influence is important, when it comes down to it, if you're worried about social engagement at live events and those tweets that really have value, focus on finding people that are in touch with the community and know what the hell is going on. This is a big data conference. We're talking cloud. Do not have someone here that's an influencer that's just going to tweet the quote that has no context behind it. Or if I need someone to just do a live tweet of every single popular quote, don't pay an influencer or bring in an influencer. Get one of your employees to do that. They're going to have a better understanding. But if you have an influencer, have the influencer understand the context. Do a little bit of research. I was lucky here at IBM Insight. They gave me some of the presenters' information beforehand, and I actually created some graphics, some templates and some graphics ahead of time so that I could use them when I'm live tweeting here at the event. And the other thing is, don't be afraid to take advantage of a digital live stream. I've had a couple events here where I wasn't able to get in because it was so packed. There's 13,000 people here. So what I ended up doing was I would go into another event, put in these headphones, and I would actually listen on the live stream to the other event as well as listening to the one I was at, being able to take pictures and share there at that event or that keynote, while also being tapped into what's going on in the event that I really wanted to go to. It's all about, if you really want to make this work, social takes effort, but if you want to stand out from the noise and stand out at an event, I recommend add your own insight. Visuals matter. I use the app, Word Swag app. It's my most popular request that people ask for me. I think I've told about 150 people here at this event that said, hey, what is that app that you're using? Well, it's Word Swag app, but you have to be able to do it in real time, understand it, and embrace it, and you have to, it's hard work. It's not easy as everyone just thinks of blasting out 140 characters. A cool, funny note here, when we wrap this up, I took a picture, tweeted it out a little earlier today, is they have the top mentioned people here, or top mentioned names at IBM Insight, and IBM Insight was number 1, iSocial Fans was number 2, and IBM Watson was number 3. And so I had to humble brag it out because I don't think I will ever be above IBM Watson again. So that's kind of my advice. I lucked out, I got above IBM Watson. I guess I'm done for the day here. I will provide a recap later on today of day 2 here at IBM Insights, and I'll be giving you a little bit more social tips on how to really take advantage of social here at events. Hopefully you had a good time. As always, thanks for subscribing. You guys rock. I've been getting lots of questions. I have questions lined up for next week's when I'm back home in Arizona to answer some of your questions from the community. As always, tweet me at iSocialFans. And remember, social is hard work, but when you do it, the rewards are immense. Stay tuned for the next episode. I have some pictures to share and some cool people that I've been waiting to meet live from IBM Insights. With that, iSocial Talks.